The wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another.
That was a speech done by William H. McRaven. The whole speech was based around doing one thing. That one thing was reinforcing doing the small things, because small things do matter. Because if you can't do the small things, how do you expect to do the bigger things? Something like making your bed can be overlooked or seen as something that is insignificant. While to some that may seem so, it's the practice that matters. And in this video, I'll be talking about some of my morning practices that led me to love my morning. Let's imagine a morning where you're not in a chaotic rush to get out the door, but a smooth transition from your bed to starting your day. For me, the mornings is not just a routine. The mornings is a time where I can home in on healthy practices that will ultimately determine my ability to make things happen. And often when it comes to getting tasks done, especially in the morning, it's about who's not looking. Why? Because it's easy to lie to yourself. Because when you do, these are like micro betrayals on your confidence. And when you do something as basic as just making your bed or getting up at the time that you say that you would, it sets the tone for the day. And I'm not being dramatic here. There are times, I must admit, where I've hit the snooze button and some way or another it set me back, let's say 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes has affected my gym workout where I haven't been able to complete the workout that I had planned, or I just tend to rush that morning and now I'm doing things at an uncomfortable, speedily rush. That act of hitting the snooze button, I had already back then admitted defeat for the day. And when you're thinking about tasks to do, they don't need to be complicated. These can be tasks in its simplest form, whether it's exercise, meditation, or simply just avoiding social media. Having a small win in the morning is critical to starting a momentum of positive actions. For me, the mornings is a moment to think. Imagine the day without having any type of processing time. And I think a lot of us rarely just have the time to sit down and just think about things. Because the real issue here is that with routines is that we don't think. That's the beauty of routines. And sometimes we can fall victim to our impulses. When you have time to think, it's a moment to clear out the mental junk from the previous day. There are loads of people out there that are creative, photographers, illustrators, or designers. They're talented, but they don't push themselves. Why? Maybe it's the fear of failing. Or maybe they just need a mode where they need to find their flow and they have uninterrupted focus time. And in order to do that, you need frequency, because I think frequency sparks creativity. And you might think working frequently might lower your standards, but I actually think that often the opposite effect. I think creativity arises from the constant churn of ideas. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to work regularly. Now this may sound simple, but I can implement a schedule more effectively. When I'm up early, this forces me to have a schedule. I have a to-do list, and I think sometimes we all have a tendency to probably pile on a bit too much because we overestimate what we could do in a short amount of time and underestimate what we can do in a larger period of time. And as a creative, I'm working towards something, so having that schedule can figure out whether I'm writing, editing, or designing something. And having this schedule makes it easier because I'm not starting from scratch. It keeps up that momentum. And I noticed the power of having a schedule when I initially started learning Spanish. For every lesson or week that I had missed, there was a noticeable difference, whether it was my ability to recall vocab or the speed in which I could reply back to people. When you have momentum with a schedule, you don't feel so disconnected from the process. It's easy to pick up where you left off from. And during the mornings, my energy is at its most stable. Hopefully, if I'm well rested, I have the mental energy to think clearly and resist temptations that could be a distraction, because it's our impulses that usually catch us out. And when I think about it, your impulses are usually likely to catch you out towards the end of the day. You're more likely to break your diet and have that muffin or chocolate cake in the evening. You're more likely to spend too much time on social media, in the evening. You're more likely to have that glass of wine after a long day in the evening. And this was my initial mistake. I would attempt to do a lot of stuff and a lot of things in the evenings, but I would get sucked into other activities, whether it was I was invited to work, or a friend had called me that I hadn't spoken to in a while, or I was just on YouTube and I got caught into a rabbit hole of just watching videos. When I started to wake up early, I saw a radical change in my productivity and my output and my ability to get things done. And I think it was because I felt like I had more control. Usually mornings are more quieter for people. And I'm not saying here like waking up in the mornings is gonna be the silver bullet and solve all your problems and get you to achieve your goals. But when you have a purpose and an overarching goal, it can make it easier. For me, I just wanted to wake up, go to the gym and spend a few hours learning Spanish. My goal was to spend 2 hours each day. I could do 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour on a lunch. And when I think about it, I was a bit relentless with this type of schedule. And I'm glad I did it because it gave me a scope of what I could do. It gave me the ability to see that I could do something and have some type of control of my day. When I wake up early, it's not difficult. It's not hard because I had and still do have a goal and a purpose. When I wake up in the morning, it's just a reminder for me to circle back on my goal.
And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed.